Hi, I'm Nigel the Shanghai Psychic. I can tune into your loved ones in the spirit world, but I can also tune into you, tell you about your path and the choices that you need to make and need to know. I'm currently giving 30% discount on all Tell Craig Your Story listeners. Just use the code Tell Craig Your Story for 30% off your first psychic reading with me online at Nigel the Shanghai Psychic.
Hi guys, Craig here. Welcome to another edition of the podcast, Tell Craig Your Story. Today we'll be speaking to Tiffany Pattinson. Now, Tiffany is a fortune teller. She was originally from Hong Kong, now residing in Shanghai. Now, she predicted before the pandemic that something was going to happen worldwide. And she also does a live reading of my star chart, which is very, very interesting. And we also find out how she does readings for pets as well. But before we go, please go to our website. We're at Podbean. Tell Craig Your Story at podbean.com. We have VK for our Russian listeners and Wechat for our Chinese listeners. At Tell Craig Your Story. We're on all the social medias. We also have a link tree there which tells you where Tell Craig Your Story podcast is streaming. We are on all the major streaming services. All right, here we go. This is my chat with Tiffany Pattinson on Tell Craig Your Story podcast. Hi Tiffany, how are you doing today?
Good. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on. Now, I hear your voice. It might be a familiar voice for some listeners. Now, you are TRD and Fury
Yes.
from the previous podcast that we did a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
Very, very cool and interesting talk about burlesque. So you were like the, doing the designs and the costuming, right?
Yeah, I do most of the costumes like for soloists and then also for some troupe dancers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do your own performances as well? You do your solo shows? Yeah?
Yeah, I do my solos as well, and it's been like really fun.
Yeah?
And really, how do you call that? Like, liberating.
Yes.
Yeah, it's very liberating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, you have a show coming up next month, I do believe.
Yes, yeah, it's in the beginning of May, the 7th and the 8th. If
Yes.
anyone is in Shanghai, it's going to be at the Pearl, and it's, we're doing a Chicago tribute.
Right. And who do we get tickets up from?
You guys can get tickets from the Pearl, I think.
From the Pearl?
Yeah, from the official platform.
But we're not here today, Tiffany, to talk about this. We're going to be talking about your fortune telling.
Yes.
Now, when you mentioned it in the last podcast, I'm always very, very interested to sort of hear about this. To me, it's very interesting, and there's a lot of people out there that are skeptical.
Yep.
And
definitely.
there's a lot of people that really are into it and really want to do it a lot.
Yeah.
We had Nigel, the Shanghai psychic, last year. I'm still doing, calling him up every 4 or 5 months just to have a chat. I think it's really interesting and cool to do that. So, firstly, in the pandemic, did you have to stop this completely, doing fortune telling?
No, in fact, I actually got more bookings
Right.
because luckily I can do this online. So it really helped in a way. And people will come with all sort of questions, like decisions to make. I have a lot of clients asking me, like, should I leave China? Should I come back? When am I going to get my ticket? Like, should I rent a house here?
Yes.
Like, what's my plan? When can I see my children? When can I see my family? There are a lot of these questions going on during the pandemic. Yeah.
Right.
Also, like, job decisions. Like, should I quit? Like, maybe should I start a business and all that.
And for you personally, did you have to sort of change anything? What is your normal sort of working with the designing? So you didn't have to change anything, really?
No, as an introvert, interestingly, it was like the most comfortable time of my life in terms of like I didn't make any excuse for not like going out to any events. Like there's just no events, so I can just happily stay home and just do my work.
Do your work?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I heard a lot of like other introvert friends, like artists, were all just saying it's actually very comfortable that we finally don't have to find a reason to.
Yes.
We don't have to make up excuses to say, we don't want to go to this event, or we don't want to go to this party. I'm sorry.
Yeah. And living in Shanghai, I when it happened, I got out of the country very, very quickly. But assuming you sort of stayed here, what was it like living in Shanghai at the time last year?
I never stepped foot out of my house actually for 3.5 months, I think. And the first time I went out is to do a burlesque rehearsal.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But I didn't exactly forecast the pandemic as in what's happening, but I do know something big is gonna happen that's gonna like lock me in a space. So I moved before the pandemic to a space that has a garden, like a little villa house on the edge of Shanghai.
Right.
So I was really blessed that even though I can't really leave my home, I still have outdoor space, for my garden, for my pets, especially for my dog, because a lot of people have problems walking their dog because they have to, like go on full gear, and they were like freaking out. They have to, like disinfect their little doggy's feet every time, and everything is really stressful. So yeah, it was kind of like that.
Yeah, right. So you just brought that up, and very, very interesting in the last podcast that you did that, and I don't think too many people would have predicted, or how could you predict the pandemic? But you just said that you had some insight before it actually happened. So we'll talk about this a little bit more, because I think this is just fascinating.
It's really strange.
Yeah, but let's go back. Let's talk about you. Let's go back into your sort of background. So you were born in Hong Kong.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah.
And tell me, what was it like living in Hong Kong at this time?
I was born and raised in Hong Kong, and then I come to Shanghai to further my study when I turned 18.
Right.
And to be honest, as much as I love Hong Kong, it was, well, in a way, the darkest moment in my life, because I was bullied my whole life.
Really?
I was really, really ugly as a child, but at the same time, academically blessed.
Right.
So I'm basically an ugly teacher's pet. So it's like the worst, and kids automatically want to bully you. Like now that I grew up, I kind of understand, like psychologically or like whatever. You understand why they do it, but when I was younger, it was really bad. So it's not really a fun time.
How did you deal with that? Did you have like your parents' support, or did you have some friends there that sort of helped you through this?
Actually, I don't think my parents ever knew I was being bullied.
Right.
Well, except when I was like in the first kindergarten school, I got hit by a classmate. So my mom moved me to another school, which is actually a better school, so it was lucky actually. And then it kept going, but I never tell them because I don't want to be like so dramatic anymore. So I basically deal with it on my own, and I would not say that's the healthiest solution, because I do have have had like other girls that was from the school, but they were younger than me, that they would message me on Facebook or they would call me later in life, where my story become like a popular underground story at school.
Right.
So the girls who got bullied would look up for me and ask for help.
Right.
And some of them became really suicidal, and that was because at the beginning they try to hold it up or they try to digest it by themselves.
Yes.
So I would say I get really lucky. I was too much of a pussy that I didn't really like hurt myself in any way that it's fatal or really bad. But yeah,
You're saying
not a good idea.
You're saying that you're ugly as a kid, but look at you now, very, very attractive, very beautiful.
I got the I got the braces.
Right.
Yeah, and that helps. Yeah.
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 So it was just the teeth then that was sort of.
Yeah, I had this like teeth issue that makes me look like a shark.
Oh.
I don't know how to go, but yeah, like it's also just human nature where, you know, like babies, animals, like they drawn to things that they find beautiful.
Right.
Like, it's just human
Yes,
nature. So
of course.
I don't really blame anyone when I was bullied as a kid. Also, it's naturally people like to hate on people that, you know, always want to like show off.
Yes.
You know, the academic
Yes.
talents or whatever. It's just it's natural. Yeah.
So what did your family do? What did your mum and dad do as jobs?
Yeah, my mom and my dad are both, they work in the field of social work. And my mom works for Hong Kong Red Cross. And
Right.
my dad, later in his life, he started a tutorial school. But he chose not to build schools that are like for profit. So he chose like more areas that's not so wealthy in Hong Kong. And he chose to tutor those kids
That's
for like
great.
a small amount of profit. just
For
to support the
Chinese
family.
or English? Or?
For Hong Kong people.
Hong
But
Kong.
mostly Chinese Hong Kong people.
Right.
Yeah, so not really for international kids.
So what was he tutoring?
He have the whole tutor school that covers language, mathematics, and all that. But he himself is really passionate in mathematics, so he did that a lot. Yeah, he has his own classes. And all.
And that's why you were very smart growing up as well.
I think it's in the genetics.
The genes.
Yeah, my mom is also really good at like calculating things. And,
Right.
yeah, I always joke about like, is this an Asian thing or is it our family?
Yes.
Yeah.
And tell me, like, what did you do? What was your major? Going to university. So
Fashion design.
you come to Shanghai for.
Yeah.
So why did you come to? What was your decision to come to Shanghai? Like, I mean, the Hong Kong universities are well renowned. So why did you go to Shanghai?
It's basically to run away because honestly, I feel like with how I am and, you know, being bullied all your life, you lack the social skills to make friends. You know, you become this weird kid that is also a bit like nerdy and geeky in a way. And I know for sure if I study in Hong Kong's university, where a big part of the life is about socializing and you know, a lot of your academic like results or whatever, like it depends on how good are your social skills. And I'll be very you know, like, yeah, it's not going to be good for me.
Right.
So I decided, why don't I change into another environment? And also I was really interested in sustainability, and China, you know, is a big country that produces a lot of things. So I think maybe it's a good idea to come here, you know, like rebuild my life, maybe have a change, and maybe that will help me to get out of my mentality as well, because it's also natural that when you were stuck in the same space, you only believe this is the only way you can be. And all the people were kind of behaving similarly because of culture, because of upbringing. So I thought maybe by changing it, I can actually see my life in a different angle. And maybe I can become a different person. So I came.
Now, did your mum and dad have this sort of fortune telling were they into this sort of field of work?
My mom knows a little bit about palm reading.
Right.
She's quite curious. And we're both Aquarius, which means we're slightly more gifted.
Right.
In fortune telling, like, you know, spiritual work and all that.
Right.
Yeah.
But your dad?
Nah. No.
So is he into that sort of thing, or is he just sort of, no, I don't believe that?
He's quite supportive though. Like
Yes.
when me and my mom were, you know, discussing about like palm reading, when I, you know, like now share with them about my work, you know, a few days ago I was working for a watch, like a luxury watch brand, and then we're doing events. I was, you know, like doing like astrology, constellation work, and I'll tell my parents, and they will discuss with me, oh, how about my life chart? How about my life path and all that? So, yeah. My dad's quite supportive too.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So when did this gift, you would say, when did this all happen? Like when did you sort of first notice it? You're saying that your mum did palm reading, but when did you start to realise for you this was something that was interesting?
Interesting. I think I guess I started to have this gift when I was really young, where there were times if I didn't finish my homework, if I don't want to participate in a certain class, if I wanted so badly, like something would happen to the teacher, to the class, that at the end, like I don't have to hand in my homework or the class got cancelled. And that always becomes something weird, and I always thought like maybe I have some like, as a kid you thought you have some like special talents or whatever. And then when I turned 16, that's when I start to use tarot cards as my tool to try to be special at school in a different way, maybe try to make new friends. That's when I discovered, okay, maybe I do have something. Because everything that I forecast about some kids, like competition, results, academic results, family situation, they all became true. Or some of them I talk about their past and it match up. So then I thought, oh, okay, maybe I do have something. And then I start to keep it as like as my tool to make friends. Because when people come to sit one-on-one with you and ask about questions that they do care about,
yes,
and when you talk about their past, because talking about the past is how we make sure we're in the right energy space, that I'm like legit, I'm not just making things up.
yes,
And that's when you get close to people very quickly in a strange way, and that's why I kept it as a tool. And then when I turned 24 is when I start to do it commercially.
right.
Yeah, before I always feel like I'm not ready yet to read for strangers and to also get paid to do it. Yeah, but yeah, when I was about 24 I started to do it.
Right.
And I become a good source of income.
There you go.
Yeah.
So tell us, you were saying that at the start you were using palm reading, but now you use tarot cards?
Palm reading is more when I was a kid with my mom, just for fun.
Right.
And so I know like the like fun facts about different lines. So it's not really about like serious reading. It's just like for fun, like life path, how many kids are you gonna have, like something interesting to talk about, but nothing too major. And tarot is where I get more serious and deeper into like the spectrum of fortune telling.
Right.
Yeah.
Do you just do tarot cards?
I also do astrology, where you have like your birth charts, life charts. I'm also like there's like a Chinese way of doing it called the bazi. So bazi is basically means like 8 character.
Right.
And this 8 character comes from the time, the date, and the month and year that you were born. And somehow with this 8 letter and all the science behind it, like all the elements behind it, you can analyze someone's life and also his relationship with like his like parents and also with his children. Yeah, so that I'm learning because there's too many rules and too many like things that you have to study in.
That's really interesting. So I'm always interested to find out, like, people are very skeptical about this sort of field of work.
Yeah.
And maybe that's because they don't know the whole full meanings about it. So for you, what do you say to people that are very, very skeptical, that that are laughing at you and making silly sort of remarks about what you do? How do you react to this?
Well, I accept the fact that sometimes people look at you like you're crazy.
Yeah.
That's normal. But at the same time, I would encourage them to give it a try, because it's like medicine in the old days. People would think it's witchcraft. But then now we know, there's actually modern science behind it. And when it comes to fortune telling, tarot reading is in a way you can look at it like a psychology, like a therapy section, where it's like art therapy. You look at the graphics, you look at the drawings on the card, and you can have your own understanding of what it means to you. And maybe it's just a intimate conversation with yourself, about your present. And from there, it's easy to analyze the future, because all our lives, a lot of life path and life cycle, they repeat themselves, like history repeat themselves. Right. We have, similar reaction to similar things most of the time. So it's kind of like analyzing life path, like big data. You have all this like collective information, collective knowledge. I do believe like knowledge passed down through generation, and somehow it's in your subconscious mind. So it's not really about like crazy magic per se that you just blindly believe in, like astrology reading, and then today I have to wear this color, I have to leave home at a certain time
Right.
just because I want to be something.
Yes.
It's not really like that, and I think a good section or like a good reading should encourage or guide people to understand maybe there's a certain fate in your life, but then you have control, and also with your personality, how are you gonna like leverage on that, you know? For example, I like to tell people, say they always like to ask about like my luck with money and
Yes.
abundance. So for example, let's say two people have their luck next month. One of them start to work really hard because he want to leverage on the luck. Then
Right.
maybe he turn his $100 into $1 billion. You
Right.
know, and maybe the other person think, oh, okay, I have my luck anyway, so I'm not gonna work. I'm gonna be lazy. And maybe, you know, after a month, he pick up $5 on the street, and that's his luck. So
Right.
it's in a way, you know, if you look at it in a very optimistic way, in a very positive way, it's about analyzing yourself and your life and how to make the best out of it. Yeah.
Now, that's a great answer, by the way.
Thank you.
How do you prepare? Do you need a lot of time to prepare for like a reading? And if it's for a person, say for the first time that you've never met before, or someone that you've read many, many times, is it the same preparation? Or tell us about how you prepare for a reading.
Yeah, for reading it depends. If it's about like astrology, star charts and all that, I do need more time in preparation because I need to analyze the chart. I need to do a lot of calculations. I need to like cross match with different data to make sure like I'm talking about the right thing and talking about the right time and date, because it's always about the accuracy of doing when, like, or when you have the luck of doing what. And then to guide people. For example, people ask when is the best time to start my business, or when is the best time to travel, those kind of things, and you need more calculation. And when you're talking about like tarot cards, it's more about the intuition and about the moment. So for that, I do have a simple setup with like my little crystals, and then I have like a little like a tablecloth-ish kind of thing, you know, on a table, and I have my cards, and usually that's the most basic setup to start. Like, you know, when someone just want to have like a, you know, at the moment they just say, oh, I want to ask about this, or oh, I want to reflect on this, then that's how we start. Sometimes we also do like more advanced rituals that includes like maybe sage and all that kind of work, like candles and all that. Then maybe we'll choose a time, for example, new moon or full moon, to discuss a certain topic, and then we'll talk about energy and all that. But all the other extra ritual is just to help and guide people to understand they have to put their mind space at the moment, and they understand, you know, like now is the time to be serious, now is the time to open up and listen. It's always about doing things to talk to your subconscious mind. Yeah, so it's like that.
Right. And how has how does the Shanghainese community, how do they react to this? And then the people from Hong Kong, is it, I don't know if I should go there, you know, witches, demons, you know, I don't want to know about my you know, I don't want you to look into my future, I don't want to look into my past. How have they reacted to this? Are the Chinese very open to this?
Yeah, because in our culture we have our own way of fortune telling, but a lot of them is about calculations.
Right.
And so I would say people all around the world, you know, that can come to Shanghai, you know, like we're excluding all this culture that doesn't travel much. Most of them are very open about this. You know, they have their own form of fortune telling in a way. Maybe they heard about astrology, maybe they heard about tarot cards, maybe they heard about something else. And everybody is quite curious about their life. So most of the people are quite open. Sometimes I'll meet people that say, oh, I'm scared of like, you know, hearing about my future.
Yes.
Like, I just want to live at the moment. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to care and all that. There are also people like that. But yeah, I would say I don't find any cultural difference in responses. Or maybe I would say people from Hong Kong and Taiwan would be more excited because at least in my generation, we have listened about a lot of these on TV. Or
Yes.
it got really popular at one time. I think that's also why I got, you know, like curious about learning tarot cards at the beginning. Yeah.
Because the, you know, you go onto the TV, even in Australia, and you go onto these, free TV,
Yeah.
and late at night, and you've got all these fortune tellers,
Oh, really?
and they got the crystal balls, and call up $5 a minute, $10 a minute.
You have these on TV?
Yeah,
In Australia?
yeah, and they can do it. And I think that's where the skeptical sort of the people are like, what is this? This is just, And I told the story last time when I was in San Diego. I went to a tarot card reading. She was telling me about all these things, and then she kept saying, "Oh, you need to come back, Craig. You're lost. Just bring your credit card. We accept all credit cards. Just come back. Just give me your credit card number." That's right. Yeah,
Definitely a scam.
And it's like, I live in Australia and I'm just visiting. And how do you find like a scammer to someone that's like a genuine person that does it?
I would say, first of all, if anyone offer you to read your fortune for free, but they are a complete stranger, and most likely it's gonna be like the opening of a scam. I would say 99% of the time.
Right.
And also, if they ask you to, if it manipulate you in a way saying that you have very bad luck, and then ask you to buy something, do a certain ritual, buy some crystals, candles, whatever way. Yeah, if they were asking you for money, definitely a scam.
Yeah.
And also there were times where maybe that fortune teller is not meant to scam you, but maybe they were not experienced enough, or maybe they were not compassionate enough, and all they do is tell you all the bad things that are going to happen without offering any solution or way to help you to... Anyways, you shouldn't leave a section feeling bad or worse. You should always leave any fortune telling section feeling optimistic about life.
Yes.
And feeling like you could go on. And that's that's a big telltale of a scale or like a bad reading. And I usually tell my clients that you don't always have to come to me, but if you heard any bad forecast that doesn't give you any good suggestion, forget about the forecast. It's usually also not true. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And how often do you have your clients coming in to see you? Is there a time limit? Nigel was saying that there was one person that just kept coming all the time. And it's like, I'm not going to tell you, she wanted to hear what she wanted to hear.
Yeah.
And he kept saying that this is not going to happen with the boyfriend.
Yeah.
So have you had any sort of experiences like that as well, where they just want to come,
that's... Yeah, I have a lot of these clients as well, like Nigel, where they were very stuck in a relationship situation and they just want to hear your answer, or they just want confirmation. And that's a very unhealthy sign. And that's when I would tell them, as much as I like to make money, I don't think that's a good idea. And also recommend them don't go to other fortune teller because I refuse you, because you're just wasting money.
That's right.
And then I will start to try to encourage them to do meditation and to read some books maybe about positive thinking or about law of attraction, just to try to guide them out of this loop, because otherwise it's really scary. I've had a client that I refuse, later on her friends come to me and tell me that she spent maybe about 20k RMB.
Wow.
Yeah, in 1 month, just to go to different fortune tellers. And at the end, I think she got scammed really badly, that she met a bad one. They just keep making her buy candles.
Yeah.
Yeah. It does happen. I would say for tarot reading in general, for tarot reading we read about short futures. And I would say for the same question, for the same problem, you only need to ask once. Right. And sometimes maybe the problem will lead to a solution, but then usually after you do the solution, you don't have to come back to me, it's already solved. Or if you make a decision and you want to check if your decision is right, you can come back to me maybe after 2 to 3 months.
Right.
Yeah, but if I have people that come to me too often, I'll often, teach them about this and then tell them it's not healthy to just keep going, keep asking, and then I will refuse them. Yeah, and hopefully, after their knowledge about, how it works, they won't then go to other fortune teller or get stuck, in all this astrology websites and apps, and just keep going until they find something that they want to hear. Yeah.
Now, do you have a good example of, someone that's come in and you've given them some great news? Yeah, one example.
Yeah. I got a lot of like pregnancy good news I forecast.
Oh.
There was like a beautiful lady friend, and she do breath work, like energy work, and then she came to me to ask about babies, and then we did a section. I give her some suggestions and all the answers, and then a few months after, she wrote me a very long WeChat message saying, you know, like, I want to share the good news. You know, after listening to the suggestions, we changed you know, some arrangement, and now we have the baby, and it's coming
Wow.
you know, at the 7th month, and that was exciting. And in the events that I was doing 2 days ago, there was like a girl we're doing astrology, and she was asking me when is the best time to have a baby. And after looking at her chart, I say, well, your baby can come next year. And then 5 minutes later, she ran out to puke, like, you know, this kind
Wow.
of pregnancy puke. So it's just those kind of client that they were being skeptical, but then, you know, they want to try. So they ask you questions with answers that they already know and see what happens. Just to see if you say something wrong, then they can be like, nah,
Checking.
you know, like you're a scam, you're fake, and all that. But then she went to puke, and when she come back, she looked at me a bit scared. And she was like,
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Wow.
mm,
Now, in terms of like a bad one, like,
mhm.
have you had like a bad experience as well?
Yeah, it's not a really bad experience per se, but negative forecast is unavoidable. Sometimes I forecast business failure. Sometimes I forecast like people who are cheating.
Right.
Sometimes I forgot like different types of loss. But in a way, you know, I do believe like if we have the fate to meet and the answers came out like this, it must be the universe or the energies or your inner self want to tell you something. And it's always about how to brace yourself to prepare for this loss, or how can you do the best you can so you avoid like damage.
Yes.
You know, so it's about that. But usually at those times, you just have to be honest and tell your client. But also, I also believe it's our job as fortune teller to help them to change their mind in how the way they look at things. You know, it's like if, for example, if you fell on the ground, you can laugh about it and walk on, or you can sit on the floor and keep crying. And
Yes.
it's up to you. So, yeah, it's about that. But unfortunately, sometimes I do see like negative futures.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, it seems as if you've helped quite a lot of people with your fortune telling. You said when you're around 24?
Yeah, to do
24?
it commercially, yeah.
Okay. So, what about for you, but? Like, can you do your own readings? Can you see the future for yourself and for your family? Like, do you read for your family? Tell us all about that.
I do read for my family when they ask me to. I do not encourage constantly relying on this to check, because then you lost the fun of living your life. You know, it's like reading a book and you read the ending first. Like, that's not fun. So
Yes.
I also don't do a lot of reading for myself unless if I feel like. Sometimes I just feel like I have to. I don't know how to explain that feeling. Or sometimes when I have to make a decision that I know is going to impact me maybe for like the coming 5 to 10 years, then I will try to consult the cards, or I will pull out my chart and look into it. And lately, I think that's how I discover my future husband. And we'll jokingly say if I didn't predict it correctly, then it would be like, you know,
Yes.
the biggest scandal in my career.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with him, it's like I have this 2 projects that were offered to me. I would say in about December of last year, and they were both gonna impact me for like the coming like 3 to 5 years. One of them offered more money, while the other one I can see in the chart that's where I'm gonna meet my future husband. So I'm like, okay.
So you say that you have your future husband for next year, but you were talking off air that you have a boyfriend at the moment.
Yeah. So I choose this project because that's the project that like I was told like with the fortune telling that
Right.
I'm gonna meet like my future husband is in this project, and I'm gonna meet him because I do this. And so I choose the project even though it's gonna bring me less money. But I do believe like, yeah, I value my love life more. So
Yes.
I chose that. And then and the first day I went to the meeting, and I immediately noticed him. I have a certain type when it comes to like choosing my partner. And then I saw him and I knew it was him, and then we tried to not get romantic during the first part of the project, so it's more professional. But after then, like, we get together immediately, and now, even though he's not my husband yet, every day feels like we've already been together for like 10, 20 years. We feel like husband and wife, and that's how we call each other. And yeah, that's really magical.
Very magical. Very magical. I wanted to talk about the pandemic. This is huge. I mean, like, who could predict this, you know? And it's affected the whole world.
Yeah.
When did you get this first feeling or sort of acknowledgement that this is something was going to happen?
Okay. I might sound a little bit more crazy here, but I don't normally do readings for the world, right? It doesn't make sense to just like do readings for the world. Like, I don't think I'm someone who can impact the whole world, so that's no point of doing it. But it's like the Christmas before the pandemic started, I was doing a lot of like readings in Christmas markets in Shanghai. A lot of people naturally, because it's the end of the year, they will ask me what should they do the next year. And interestingly, I have a lot of answers. Like, a lot of the answers to the question is either to quickly decide a location to stay, or quickly to grab onto, like, you know, like the opportunity that you have. Make sure you get everything fixed before March.
Right.
A lot of them have these answers. And then so I found it quite interesting, because, you know, that's not normal.
Yes.
Like, because normally people won't have similar answers. Like, different people have different answers. And also at the same time, it was the time where Hong Kong was going through like the protests, right? So I was actually asking, when is that gonna stop? Because I want to go back to Hong Kong to see my parents. And the outcome is that the cards were telling me the whole world is not gonna care about Hong Kong, because they have their own things to care about. And which is weird, because politically saying, it's quite important to make sure it's okay, right? So I was like, okay, that's also pretty strange. And then later on, I have other questions about my own life decision, and the cards were telling me, okay, like, you should also choose a location and stay there and make sure it's nice for you for the next year. And then that's when I feel like, okay, maybe something big is happening, because, you know, like, it's like all these collective answers doesn't make sense. It's really weird, and I've never seen it like this in my whole career. So then I know something bad's coming up, and I've told like a few friends around me that maybe something off is coming up, but of course nobody take it seriously.
Of course. Yeah.
Like, I'm not gonna nobody's gonna change any plan because of that.
Yeah.
And I also don't believe, like, compared to fortune tellers that's been doing their career for like 50 years, like 30 years, like, I'm like a baby. I only do it for 10 years.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, I do my own change and whatnot and see how it goes. And then the pandemic happened.
Wow.
I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
That's for real. And yeah, it's I don't know how to express that. It's like, I'm sure, like, you know, maybe like some of your listeners also have their own way of gift. Like, some people have vision, some people have feelings, some people can hear things, and it's this weird feeling that you can't really explain. Like, you just know, or like somehow it's just, it is.
I don't know if anybody else has this, but I have this, you know, it's happened a couple of times, and I just forget about it. Like, you have like a dream. I don't know if dreams are, but I will dream something, and then maybe 3 or 4 months later, I'll be like,
I've seen it before.
Yeah.
Maybe you're also quite gifted.
I don't know. Let's talk about Deja Vu.
Yeah. I would say, actually, all of us, even like animals, like all, you know, like we have our intuition, and we have subconscious mind. And actually, you know, putting fortune telling aside, like, every day you walk out, every day, like in your waking moment, and even when you're asleep, your subconscious mind is collecting a lot of information, and it's already like a computer processing it for you. So in a way, actually, people who are more sensitive in a certain part of life, or if they have a very analogical mind, you know, they have the talent to forecast something, because, as I say, you know, things usually happen in a similar way. People react in a similar way. So it could be that as well, you know. Even though we put it a lot, say, gifts and talents, and, you know, and there's like a different spectrum. But then you can also explain it that way, as in you have your subconscious mind doing the work for you, and you have your intuition doing the work for you. Like, sometimes people feel like, I'm in danger,
Right.
Some people react to it and they might escape from certain type of danger. Some people stop believing in themselves and they'd be like, probably just overthinking, and then they might get into an accident. It is something like that. And I think, it's up to a different person. Or some people put more effort in developing it. They listen to it themselves more, and then they become someone who's like a psychic, or someone who is actually really good at, like,
Yes.
avoiding trouble. And maybe there are people growing up having their environment telling them, you're crazy, or like it's not like that, or like the TV or media. We were at like an era where always about science, data, and facts, and maybe they stopped listening to themselves, and then they lost the gift. But I do believe most people have it naturally. Like all people have it naturally. It's just how you develop.
So I wanted to talk about personally now, like why are you not able to, predict lotto, the lotto numbers, or why can't you go to a casino at a certain point and go, hey, jackpot? Why can't you do that as a tarot reader or someone that predicts the future?
Well, I think technically you can, but most of us would not use the talent this way, use the gift this way, because we do believe in energy exchange and we believe in karma. So you can't really use your talent for selfish gain, unless if you say, okay, I want to win this lottery and donate all the money to like maybe like burn victim or like tsunami victim or earthquake victim. Maybe that might happen, but I don't think we do that for ourselves. Like it's never for selfish gain, and you do pay a price if you use your energy that way. And for example, in Mexico there were like white magic, black magic, where black magic is about manipulating people, falling in love, getting money. You have a big price to pay. That's also something that I would not recommend. And when it talks about money and abundance, what we usually do if we want more abundance for ourselves, which is also natural, you have to eat, you have to stay alive. Yes. When we do like rituals, or when we like make wishes and all that, what we would do is that we hope for abundance, but not just for ourselves, but to make our life better, so we can reach more people and help more people. So then we're not gonna get like crazy rich, like I can afford a private jet, but maybe I can make sure my pets were all fed, I'm well fed, like I have like a place to live under, that I can serve more people, something like that. So you don't see most of the fortune teller getting crazy rich. It's really not about that.
It's all about like a passion and giving something back to make people happy.
To surface. It's like people have artistic talents, they use it in creating and innovating, something like that.
Has some of your readings from the past become true for you?
For myself? Or for other people?
For you.
Yeah, for myself, as I say, I don't read so much about myself. I would say the biggest one that I'm looking forward to see if it's really going to come true and how true it became is I secretly forecast the date that I'm going to marry. And we'll see if that happens. And then I get more feedback from my clients and my friends, where some of them will email me or write to me, and then from Facebook, WeChat, whatever, telling me, like the things that you told me 2 years ago, they do happen. Or like the decision that you helped me make 5 years ago now lead to the path that you forecast for me. And because we have that discussion many years back, I'm more well prepared, or like I'm more happy to accept what come my way, instead of just feeling lost or frustrated or even angry. And that was pretty cool.
Now, what would you say to someone that is thinking about sort of doing this as like can you do this as a profession? Are you able to make like enough money to sort of do this full time, or?
It's really about location, timing, and how you market yourself.
Right.
But putting those aside, I would not recommend anyone that doesn't have enough private experience, as in they doesn't have enough practice to do it commercially and to work for other people, because we're not doctors, but then I do see ourselves like psychologists or therapists in a way. Like your words have power, your speech have power, and you have to make sure you're responsible for that, so that you're not just randomly leaving like bad seeds in people's mind and like freaking people out. And that needs a lot of practice privately to make sure you don't do that. And also studying psychology helps. You know.
So that's what I was saying. Like, so
Yeah.
do you have to study it,
Mm,
or is it just a gift?
mm,
And is it difficult to build like a business?
mm.
Tell us.
It needs training if you want to do it professionally.
Yeah.
If you want to do it for fun, then you have a gift, then you just you snowball from there.
Right.
To do it professionally, you do need training, and you can either like I know there are schools out there, even though I didn't participate in any schools. There were schools out there. There are a lot of resources on YouTube. You can always like read books like written by a lot of older generation talents. But yeah, you do need to train yourself, like, because it's like anything, right? You might be gifted in painting, but to become like a professional designer or professional artist, you have to go through a lot of training. You also at the same time have to learn about business. You have to learn about branding, maybe. You have to learn about communication skills. And how far you go down, like the career depends on how good you are in other spectrum. For example, maybe you're really good at branding and marketing and you can get bigger jobs. Maybe you're too shy, you're not good at like promoting yourself, then you were just limited in a certain area. Or maybe if you're very gifted in social media, then you just go really far internationally. It all depends on that.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, one of the more unusual things that I've heard, we talked about a little bit earlier, is that you actually can do readings for pets. Is this true, Tiffany?
Yes, it's true. And I discovered it randomly. Like one time we're just jokingly doing it at a friend's house, and it turns out to be true. About like asking cats about like her owner, and it became true.
How does it work?
So then I started doing it as a habit, and basically I use tarot cards, and I will invite the animal to come over and choose cards. Some pets are very eager. Like I have puppies that just run to me and like choose cards. And there were also like little animals that were like more avoidant, where they would be like turning their heads away from the car and refusing it. And I think the most interesting one that I've ever done is to invite like a grey cat. Like I met it like at a store like around the corner of like a flea market I'm doing, that I was also working in. And then the girl was asking me, oh, can you do a reading for my cats? And I was like, yeah, sure. And then we pulled the cats, and then the cat, I usually would ask the little fluffy friend to pick 3 cards. Yeah. And that cat only picked 2, and she refused to get the last one. And I was like, that means something. Yeah. And when I read the cards, I tell her, okay, she have 2 owner. You're only one of them. And now she doesn't want to decide which owner to go to. Oh. And the girl was like, yes, like me and my sister have her for a long time, but now my sister's getting married and we need to part our ways. So we don't know who should keep her for the majority of the time. And then she asked me, then what does my cat think? And I tell her, well, your cat prefer the food from your sister, but then she like to hang out with you more. And turns out her sister is more wealthy, so she'll feed it more delicious snacks, but then she get more playtime with the girl. And that was really funny because I don't know them. And the answer like from the cat is like a kid, it's telling, oh, I like the snacks from from your sister, but I like to play as well, and I don't know where to go. It was really cute.
Now, when can Craig get a reading from you?
Yeah, we can do it now if you want.
Really?
Yeah. This is your astrology chart. That's how it looks like. And so to start with, the most interesting thing, or like the thing that first jumped out, is that all of your stars, or like most of your stars, were staying on the right hand side of the circle of like the charts. And it means that actually big part of your life is already like fate. It's like fate arranged it for you. And your mission in this life is, how do you react to it, and what do you learn and understand from it? There were also another type of people where the stars are heavily on the left hand side. It means that their life is more about taking responsibility for their own choices and their own decisions. So that's like the first thing I see about you. You are quite heavily gifted and at the same time challenged in your career field. So you have talents in many things. About like creativity, self-expression, but sometimes because you're too gifted, you might be challenged. about like time management and when to do what, and you might have too many ideas in your mind and you just don't know how to arrange and analyze them. But if you can break through these challenges, at the end of it, it's your success. So there's a star, like there are a few stars there that talks about that in the house about career. And also at the same time, let's see. So your sun, your solar sign is Libra. So it means like yourself is someone who actually are naturally attracted to art and are naturally attracted to things that are like beautiful, balanced relationship. You're curious about people, you're curious about relationship. That's you. And your moon sign is Pisces. So your soul, like what are you inside, is someone who's very sensitive with emotions, feelings, and also you're quite actually curious about spirituality and about like all these things that like think spiritual stuff are things that you're also quite curious about. And your rising is should I forgot the name of I think it's Aries in English.
Aries,
I think it's Aries in English. So this is your rising, which means like you seems very straightforward when you work, or like when people who work with you, or when you're at your work phase, like when you face the society or people, you seems quite straightforward and you want to get things done quickly and efficiently. And this side of you is a bit contradictory to who you really are. So I would say it often takes time for people to understand you, or if people don't have patience to try to learn about you and understand you, you will probably get misunderstood. So this is also like a lesson in this life to try to find a balance between it, because I also feel like maybe there were times that people thought you were straightforward, or you seems quite straightforward, and then when you start to know them more and you like to talk about emotions and feelings about your life, you found out people getting impatient and don't want to listen to you, because your mask, or like your outward side, attracts only people that want to do things like quick and efficient. So there might be contrast like this. But you will also then keep friends that really want to stay along, because those are the ones who want to take time to know about you. It's pretty cool. So another good news is about like marriage and relationship. Are you curious to know about that?
Sure.
Okay.
Always curious.
Let's see. So about your marriage and a relationship, your partner is gonna be someone who is very gorgeous, who's very charming. And then it's also someone that, when you two unite, it's going to bring abundance in your life. Like abundance as in like money, and also like a better lifestyle, or like just a better way of spending money per se. Like you two are going to have like a really beautiful like marriage life. Maybe you use like better quality products. She's going to be like someone who is really good at like managing, like just to make the household life very beautiful.
Right.
Yeah. And also it's going to be a very communicative relationship where, like as I say, in your soul, you crave for connection, communication, feelings, and your partner is able to give you that. So be very happy and natural in a relationship where you'll be allowed to talk. You'll be allowed to feel, instead of just people like chopping you off or like not really listening. Yeah. It's pretty nice. What else do you want to know?
Career.
Career. Do you want to do a forecast in the coming few years?
Sure.
Let's see how it goes. You're gonna meet your partner when you work. Or if you already have your partner, then you have your partner when you work. But I haven't checked we have this like chart here, the ring, where it shows like which year, what kind of luck, or like what kind of which stars is giving you like more impact and energy.
Okay.
So let me check. Wow. Okay. So you are at the age from 2 years ago, 2018 to now. These are the years where you feel like you're discovering your life mission, who you really are and what you're here to do. It is when like the North Star, it's like really impacting you, and the star lands on the house where it's about relationship with children or your inner child. And I would say, looking at the stars here, in your past life, you might be someone who is very influential and impactful in a society and in a community. And maybe that part, like, makes you feel like you lack a time to talk to your inner self, and you lack a time to really communicate or discover your feelings. And coming to this life, that's what you're here to do, to listen to yourself more, to analyze like what kind of feelings are true to yourself, what feelings are impacted by society or people around you. Maybe people will somehow manipulate or influence to feel a certain way, or make you feel guilty for certain things, or like for certain decision that you do, maybe to chase for your dream or to do certain things. And this life is about, finding, like the truth. Right. It's about talking to your inner self. And the past 2 years to now, it basically like that's what you've been doing. And then and then the coming 2 years till 2023, it's about really officially graduating from this topic, and then really like let yourself go and live a really new life and a new path. I would say by 2023 you feel completely like reincarnated. Yes. In a way, you'll be very liberated from a lot of things that you get stuck, especially about your own decision and personality and feelings in the past. So then immediately your reward, that's when your career is gonna take another like height. Yes. Yeah, and I would say that comes because you have your own enlightenment. That's when you are going through like this 10 years is basically the sun, the solar. It's giving you own energy, like that's the big solar luck. And then like especially during 2023 to 2025, it's like you will feel like a big strong energy, or like a really big dramatic change in your life, but in a very positive way. And I would say, yeah, take these years to pace yourself, like to really, if you have things that you still want to try out, have things that you want to discover, have things that you want to feel. Yeah, you're always about feeling something. It's not exactly about what you do, but how you feel. So take your time to feel, let your inner child play. Yeah. Do whatever you want to experience, and then you're gonna have your enlightenment, and then you're gonna have a big hit in your career. Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, I think for health, it's actually related to that too. If you can help yourself to accept and let go, and don't get too stressed about being misunderstood, or try to find an outlet that you can talk more about your feelings and emotions and get connected to your inner child like this, then you feel happier. But otherwise, I don't see any big health issues. Usually that's also what people are concerned about. Right.
That's really cool.
Thank you. It's very
interesting. Can you look at, or can you see, like, I'm always interested at my music, because my music is like a huge part. Yeah. It's a hobby. It's always been a hobby, but I would always want it to be a career. Even if I'm not playing music, then I want to help other musicians, promote other music. So what does the stars say for like, because always creative, always wanting to make music, wanting to be trying new things, so
okay. From what I see here, I would say you have, remember I said you have that challenge about like trying to manage your time because of your ideas better, right? And somehow management skills is the thing that, like, when you have sorted out, that's when you can go further in your creative career. And also from the stars here, what I can see is that also don't over stress on the fact that you haven't been able to do it yet because it's your fault. It's just fate, it's not the right time yet. But the time will come, like when you have that enlightenment, when you're finally like find your own truth. You also discover from all these ideas there were one or two things that you really want to focus on. Yes. You will find your angle, and you'll be able to do it. And I would say with like your relationship, like it will help as well. Yeah. And somehow interestingly with marriage it's gonna help. Maybe it's someone that when you have that partner in life, probably it's also someone who is very passionate in this.
Mm-hmm.
I would say 95% sure.
Yeah.
Someone also very passionate in this. Yeah, you guys are gonna be a power couple and to do this together. And then it will become like a life goal or a life mission that you're very passionate to pursue. And by that time, you won't be doing this. You don't need to think about money when you do this, when the time comes. Because you do have, so the second house is about money and abundance, and you have Taurus in it, and Taurus is in charge of that house. It's just that you don't have any stars in that house to fuel it up, to power it up, but the star lands in your marriage house. So when you find the partner, we say marriage, but then it means like life partner. And life partner is also means that when you find someone who's like your mirrored self, you know, like that's how we look into partnership.
Right.
So it's really about that moment of your life where you find your true self. That's when you're gonna like attract the partner to come into your life. Like that would be the moment then you start a very different life in terms of, you know, spirituality, in terms of career, in terms of, you know, relationship. Everything is gonna be quite different, but in a very happy way.
Right.
So even though like this few years seems more like a struggle, it seems difficult because, you know, finding your true self, and it's not easy, right, to wiggle through all this, to face yourself, to
It's a tough time for everybody, I think, not just myself. Like we're stuck in a place where I can't see my family, just like you.
Yeah.
And as much as everybody else, I want to be home with my family and friends. But I've got to do what's...
You need to. Interestingly, I would say the pandemic actually helped you because, as I say, in your past life, you were awfully influenced by your peers, by people around you. You might not be very sure, you know, the way that you respond to things or the way you feel things. Is it because of peer pressure or because of that's how you really want to think and feel? So by being isolated here alone, it's a very good time to get it clear. And after you get that clear, everything is in a way sorted out.
I've been here for 5 years now, and the self-confidence since I've been here has been through the roof. Like when I get back to Australia now, I'm more confident, and I know who I am now.
Yeah, sometimes it's amazing how having a little bit distance from your roots, from your peers, it helps you to see a new perspective, and it helps you to change. Yeah. Definitely.
And you've got to change. You've got to survive. You've got to adapt.
You've got to adapt, yeah.
And especially in China, it's not like a English speaking country. You've got to fight. You've got to survive. It's made me a stronger person, definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
So
I'm happy for you.
Learned a lot. But thank you. If someone wants to do this, how do they get in contact with you? Like, so domestically in Shanghai, like, can they come to see you for a reading?
Yeah.
Tell us all about it.
You can add me on Wechat. It's Tiffany Pattinson. You can also, if you were overseas, I also do online readings. So you can contact me maybe on Instagram. It's also Tiffany Pattinson. Facebook is the same. Like anywhere is the same. Just contact me online. We can arrange. And if you were locally in Shanghai, then we can also do face-to-face reading. But for the moment, I'm quite overbooked. So I only accept face-to-face reading for 1 hour or up. Otherwise, online reading, I usually do it collectively at night. Or maybe sometimes I do events for brands or for markets. And yeah.
Awesome.
Then that's when you can also do face-to-face readings.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you would like to say?
I would say, in general, I like to say, you know, like positive thinking.
Yeah.
Always attract positive things. So no matter you believe in fortune telling or not, no matter you believe in fate or not, I think positive thinking is the strongest or like the most powerful tool you can have to go through life happier.
And is there any predictions that you have sort of had at the moment, like worldwide and sort of in general? Because, you know, it's always interesting, like do people come up to you and say who's going to be like the next president or...
Well, I saw something about the royal family when I was asking about the pandemic, because I have a client asking me should they leave England. And then things were starting to happen like last week or a few days ago, you know, with
I think one of them passed away, right?
yeah, and yeah. I would say the biggest forecast I've seen is that a lot of the old ways that we see power, we see control, like the way we are, the social hierarchy that it was, is changing. And so don't limit yourself into thinking that I'm only stuck in a certain social hierarchy because of what I'm born with, you know. Try to take time to develop more, like in terms of, you know, subconscious mind, spirituality, be mentally strong. That will help to go for a long way for the future. Yeah. I think that's all I can say. Like the other forecast is just, yeah, it's just weird and not really necessary. So I'm not gonna say those.
That's great. Well, Tiffany, you have a gift, a very, very talented person. You're doing the cabaret, you're doing this. It just seems like very, very positive. You've just got a very positive vibe, very happy, and where you are at the moment, from where you've come from, is a bit of an inspiration to other sort of people. So keep doing what you're doing.
Thank you.
And maybe come back on another time, give us a bit of an update on how your business is going. And
that would be lovely.
Yeah, and all the best.
Okay, you too.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, I'm Tony Fair, founder of Victorian Grooming Company. Is your beard feeling dry or the skin underneath itchy? Maybe you'd rather soften and tame your beard instead. Our classic collection of beard oils, balms, and soaps will leave your beard looking, feeling, and smelling amazing. And if you prefer shaving, our pre-shave oils and shave soaps will give you a smooth and razor burn-free shave. Handmade in Edmonton with natural ingredients. Visit VictorianGrooming.com.